Hello, everybody. Another week, some more news. The Community Development District's Board of Supervisors will consider a resolution this week taking aim at the Sumter Landing Community Development District over sore points, including money tied up for repairs to the Morris Boulevard Bridge revetment. The draft resolution calls for CDD 7 to use the same Chapter 164 conflict resolution tactic that Community Development District 6 tried to use on CDD 7 earlier this year as a retribution for its refusal to sign onto an agreement to create a second PWAC south of State Road 44. The effort essentially went nowhere, and CDD 6, as well as CDDs who joined in the effort, eventually retreated. CDD 7 Board Chairman Jerry Vicente, in a PWAC meeting last week, offered a preview of the position taken in the draft resolution. The CDD 7 has $114,963 tied up in a long-delayed project to bolster the revetment at the Morris Boulevard Bridge. Vicente maintains that money should be returned to CDD 7's coffers where it can earn interest money. The bridge project has been delayed because of the water level at Lake Sumter. It has been too high since Hurricane Irma in 2017. I've often wondered why the village just has to pay to shore that bridge up. It's a public road. A golf cart thief has been sentenced to jail time after snatching a Yamaha parked at a town square in the Villages. Patrick White, 39 of Opahumka, has been sentenced to 6 months in the Lake County Jail after pleading no contest last month to a charge of grand theft of a motor vehicle. He was given credit for 65 days already served in jail. A longtime employee of the Villages box office had parked her dark blue 2017 Yamaha gas golf cart on the night of June 21 in the parking lot at 970 Del Mar Drive at Spanish Springs Town Square. She returned the following morning and found that her golf cart had vanished. According to the affidavit and probable cause of the Lake Police Department, a detective began working with the Village's Technology Solutions Group and obtained surveillance images from the square at the time of the theft of the golf cart. An image provided enough to place Patrick White under arrest. A villager's son has been ordered to stay away from booze after causing a commotion at a popular restaurant at Brownwood, Paddock Square. Donald Patrick William, 34, who lives with his mother in the village of Pine Ridge in the Fruitland Park section of the Villages, earlier this month in Sumter County Court, was allowed to enter into a pre-trial intervention contract, which could allow him to escape prosecution on a charge of disorderly intoxication. He must refrain from alcohol and illegal substances, seek an alcohol and substance abuse evaluation, submit to random drug screens at his own expense, and perform 15 hours of community service. A golf cart driver escaped injury in a mishap Saturday at a tunnel in the Villages. The parked golf cart was wedged in at tunnel B17 at about 12:30 p.m. Saturday at Southern Trace and Buena Vista Boulevard near the Hawks Bay Golf Court starter shack. The man driving the golf cart began to enter the tunnel, but a high topper golf cart coming in the opposite direction was hogging the tunnel, according to the witness. The driver of the parked car swerved to avoid collision, but got wedged in the tunnel. Community Watch was on the scene directing traffic away from the tunnel. A car aide arrived on the scene and was able to get the golf cart loose. The owner of the golf cart was able to drive home, apparently unharmed, but was said to be a bit embarrassed. If you go through a lot of these tunnels, especially in the older areas and like Lake Sumter, and you go further north, especially if you get up, say, around Nancy Lopez up there, if you look on the side of the tunnel, you'll see scrape marks. Just be careful. More than $20,000 in deed compliance fines have been racked up over a junk car at a dead couple's home in the Villages. The Community Development District 2 Board of Supervisors learned of a staggering figure during a meeting Friday at Savannah Center. The home at 2016 Cordero Court in the village of Santo Domingo was the subject of a public hearing more than a year ago. The home was purchased for $95,300 in 1998 by John and Helen Fuller. Both are now deceased, according to the community standards. supervisors. The district had been cutting the grass, but the car remains in the driveway. District Council Mark Briones reminded supervisors that a vehicle is considered inoperable if the registration is expired and invalid and the vehicle is clearly not functioning, such as having flat tires. In August, a neighborhood in the village of Della Vista complained about a rusted car in his neighborhood. However, the license plate was valid and the previously flat tire was pumped up, thus the car was considered operable. Frustration with junk cars in driveways in the villages has been an ongoing problem. Earlier this year, the Village Center Community Development District Board of Supervisors held a public hearing with regard to 2 junk cars in the driveway of the home of a dead villager. Death around here can be a problem. They don't know how to handle that. A homeowner in the villages is not responding to concerns about her unkept property. The home at 7360 Southeast 166 DiPietro Lane in the Sawyer Villas in the court of Calumet Grove was the subject of a public hearing Friday afternoon in front of the Community Development District 4 Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. A complaint about overgrown weeds was received July 22nd by community standards. A deed compliance officer was initially able to speak to the homeowner, William J. Selzer III, and he said the weeds would be taken care of according to the testimony presented in the public hearing. However, a follow-up inspection showed the problem had not been addressed. Staff continued to try to reach out to Selzer through additional phone numbers and email addresses, but have been unsuccessful. As of this week, the property was still out of compliance. The board agreed to give Selzer 7 days to bring the property into compliance. If he fails to do so, he will be fined $250 each time the district is forced to maintain the property. State Representative Brett Hague has nearly tripled his salary for the villages, according to a disclosure form on file with the state. Hague has opted not to run for re-election, indicated that he earned $925,096 in 2021 from the villages of Lake Sumter Incorporated. That represents a substantial increase from the $350,000 earned the previous year from the villages. The information is included on a mandatory disclosure form filed with the Florida Commission of Ethics. The form was notarized by Mark Morris's longtime administrative assistant, Doris Pardo. Last year, Hague earned $29,697 in taxpayer-funded income for his work in the Florida House of Representatives. That amount remained unchanged from the previous year. While Hague is stepping back from politics, his son, Cooper, was recently named to serve as the Secretary-Treasurer on the newly formed Community Development District 15 Board of Supervisors. CDD 15 is located southwest of the Florida Turnpike and east of Marsh Bend Trail. I have nothing to add. Letters to the editor. In regards to his raise, there can be no doubt that Representative Brett Hague earned it. His actions most likely saved the employer millions of dollars. We just need to overlook that pesky little conflict of interest issue. I question if there is such a thing in Florida. That's sent in by Don Hampton from the village of Springdale. With a gun. A villager in a golf cart was arrested with a gun after a dispute at a restaurant in Florida's friendliest hometown. Robert Paul Houston, 43, who lives in the La Palma Villas, had been circling the parking lot at Applebee's restaurant on Bachara Boulevard at about 1:30 a.m. Monday, where he had been waiting on a guy he had a problem with inside the restaurant, according to the arrest report from Lady Lake Police Department. A witness told police he attempted to persuade Houston to leave. Instead, Houston brandished a firearm and cocked it a couple of times. Houston threatened he would hurt the other guy. When officers arrived on the scene, they found a 9mm Taurus handgun in the center console cup area of the golf cart. Houston admitted the gun belonged to him. The California native was arrested on a charge of improper exhibition of a firearm. He was booked at Lake County Jail and released after posting a $1,000 bond. And he lives in the villages. He could be your neighbor. A villager was tracked down at his home after fleeing a hit-and-run crash. The crash occurred at about 2 p.m. Friday at U.S. Highway 27441 at La Grande Boulevard when a black Pontiac two-door passenger car rear-ended a white Chevrolet van and then proceeded to back up, colliding with a Ford pickup. according to an arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department. The driver of the Pontiac made no attempt to check on either party he collided with and left the scene at a high rate of speed, the arrest report said. The Pontiac drove over the media through a red light at the intersection of U.S. Highway 27 and 441 and Griffin Road. Witnesses provided police with the Pontiac's license plate number. Officers went to the home of 39-year-old Jeremy Mark Mritz at 518 Carrera Drive in the villages of Tierra del Sol South. He spotted the Pontiac in the driveway and noted it had visible damage to its front and rear end. Mritz, who indicated he works as a security guard, admitted he had been involved in the crash. He said he was scared and fled the scene. He probably fled the scene because he'd been drinking or he has no driver's license. It should be noted that while speaking with the defendant, a strong odor of alcoholic beverage was emitting from this person. Mritz was arrested on a misdemeanor charge of leaving the scene of a crash with property damage. He was booked at Lady Lake County Jail and released after posting a $2,000 bond. I know what you're going to ask, but they didn't see him driving, so they can't say he was. I know, obvious, right? I don't know. I don't understand it either. Every year, right before the snowbirds start to return, this is an argument that comes up every year. Here we go. The debate is once again raging about outsiders visiting the town squares and the villages. As hard as it might be to remember, most villagers were once outsiders tempted to visit the village long ago thanks to the VMail, the lifestyle preview plan, a friend or a family member. They visit to the town square with live entertainment and libations, and many are hooked. The return of the snowbirds and the good weather means fewer seats are available, and naturally, there is less parking available. Inevitably, the irritation turns to the outsiders, those who don't belong, who don't own, who don't rent. A letter was recently posted regarding outsiders freely using our amenities. This does happen. If we live in the villages, we are paying for all amenities. That's not true. I completely agree with the letter. This is why my husband and I moved to villages over every other retirement community. There is so much offered here more than anywhere else. So it doesn't make much sense that we are paying for outsiders to use the free entertainment. Why not charge them to use that money to either pay for the entertainment or for upkeep of the squares? Asked Sherry Carpico of the village of Gilcrest. Why should we have to park blocks away when we are paying to enjoy the entertainment? Parking is an issue down there. Here's why. Nobody wants to walk. Everybody wants to park next to the square. That's just a fact. To the editor. I agree with Mrs. Roberts, except for our guests needing to pay to use our amenities. The squares and restaurants, even off-season, are so full that villagers can't enjoy them. There are so many cars parked at the squares early in the afternoon that there is little room for golf carts to park for the entertainment. My husband and I experienced an outsider using the sports pool at Rohan to cool off as we were working out. See? We will soon need to have IDs checked at the pools. They're supposed to be doing that now. I believe that we all moved to the villages with the idea that villagers came first, only to find out that this is not always true. When the snowbirds come down, even the golf courses will be difficult to assess. And recently we have found that we are sharing everything with Airbnb renters. I think the access of the entertainment and pools should be by IDs. That's sent in by Kim Easton, the village of Chitty Chatty. You don't watch my channel, I can just tell. But anyway, your Airbnb renters here, they have IDs. If they don't, they can't get in there anyway. Legally, they can't get in there. They can be asked to leave. I know how the ID system works. If I was running an Airbnb here, every one of my guests would have an ID. So you don't notice they don't have one, and I don't either. I'm just saying the odds are they may have. To the editor, boy, there's a lot of them. I believe outsiders do contribute to the businesses in the villages, but the parking is a problem. Perhaps we could have parking allocated for residents with gates and a pass to enter those parking lots. Then we could have a better experience when we come to the squares. That's sent in by Roseanne Coppola, the village of Fernandino. Morning, everybody. Let's see if we can't get this news done. It's Monday for me. I'm working on WNL. Anyway, our guest, our Medicare expert, he always has tons of questions to answer because I know what it's like when I got ready to file for my Medicare. I had no idea. And they don't make it easy for you to know. For me, anyway. Maybe some people out there are just better educated than I am when it comes to those kinds of things. Part D, Part G, Part F. I mean, good God, I don't know. I said, just give it all to me. I don't know. Thank Craig for coming on. Sheena Easton described herself in simple terms Friday in Savannah Center. I'm just a chick singer from the 80s. She's a lot more than that. In a musical decade dominated by Michael Jackson, Prince, Madonna, Sheena Easton created her own lasting legacy. The one-time Scottish lass was not only an MTV queen, but recorded smash duets with Prince and Kenny Rogers. She went to appear on television and Broadway. She sold millions of records and won a Grammy nomination and also an Academy Award song nomination with For Your Eyes Only. Now, you can tell Snowbirds are coming back because now they can bring in the big names. For those, the Oak Ridge Boys are coming to the Sharon Morris Performing Arts Center in the Villages. The performance will be at 7 p.m. Monday, January 23rd. Tickets will go on sale October 26th and can be purchased at getoffthebusconcert.com. TheSharon.com or 352-753-3229. The show is in support of Kiwanis Club of Lady Lake. The Oak Ridge Boys, who previously performed in the Villages in 2016, have one of the most distinctive and recognizable sounds in the industry. Duplicate cards may no longer work after upgrades to gates in the Villages. The major upgrade to the gates is currently taking place, which could explain why so many gate arms are down. The growth of the Villages and the addition of more and more gates means that Florida's friendliest hometown has outgrown the software used to open and operate the gates. Part of the upgrade includes the updating of the reader boards, according to the Assistant District Manager, Brittany Wilson, who is overseeing the upgrade. With the updating of our reader boards, gate cards that have been cloned or duplicate may no longer function. Only active cards are going to properly open the gates. In addition, those who have paid vendors to install a version of the cards on mirrors and windows of their golf carts and automobiles may find themselves in the same non-functioning boat. Director of Resident Service, Matt Armstrong, noted that Villages can obtain up to 4 gate cards per household. I bet they don't give them to you. We'll see. So we'll go down and probably see about getting them. But yeah, there was somebody here. It's well known. I didn't like it. I didn't like when we had the Villages newcomers, when they were here new, I had them on my show to help get them started with their YouTube channel, to get them so you guys could get to know them. I had them on my show. And he brought up the fact that there was somebody here that for like 20 or 25 bucks made these little counterfeit cards that you could put them on your car, and that way if it's raining outside, you didn't have to open up your window or whatever to stick your hand out there to either push the button or use your card to open a gate. The theory of that is good. I got no problem with it. I know that the Village has done that down, I think it's the Lofts, but they did it and they had the right stuff. I didn't get one, never even looked into it, because the more I kept thinking about it, I didn't like the sound of it. That somebody is counterfeiting Village's property and selling it for profit. It's almost like copyright stuff to me. I can't take somebody's song and play it on my YouTube channel and make money on my channel using somebody else's music that's got copyright issues on it. But yet you can take the Village's stuff and copy it and sell it. Something about that just didn't seem right to me. Not that I would be doing anything illegal, I don't think, but I just didn't like the sound of it. I liked the idea of it, but I just didn't do it, never would do it. So I think that's what they're talking about. If you bought one of those and put them on your car, your whatever they're talking about, they're saying it may not work. What I'm going to tell you is it ain't going to work. And that's one of the upgrades we're going to do, is make sure them cards don't work. Remember the guy that went up Spanish Springs in the wine business up there? I can't think of the name of it. For some reason, he was drunk. He kept roaming in, roaming out, caused a disturbance. They finally called the police. They had him arrested. Here's an update on him. A man has been sentenced in connection with an intoxicated disturbance at a wine shop in the Villages. Thomas Andrew Adele, 58, of Summerfield, not even a resident, appeared to be intoxicated and was asked several times August 16th to leave the Corkscrew located on Main Street in Spanish Springs. According to the arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department, employees said he had been in the establishment multiple times throughout the day, not purchasing anything, just causing a disturbance. He was intoxicated and leaning on the bar for support. In addition, his speech was slurred and he would forget what he was talking about. Why do that? I'm not drunk. He was asked to leave multiple times but refused. A Pennsylvania native was arrested on a charge of disorderly conduct. Earlier this month in Sumter County Court, he entered a plea of no contest in the case. He was sentenced to 6 days already served in jail. The Silver Lake Recreation Center indoor and outdoor facilities will be closed for maintenance on Tuesday, October 25th. This schedule may be adjusted due to unforeseen circumstances, including weather. That's probably the oldest recreation center in all of the villages, and they still maintain it to pristine condition. The Blue Oyster Cult is set to perform at the Sharon Morris Performing Arts Center in the Villages. The band will take stage 7 p.m. Tuesday, January 10th. Tickets go on sale October 26th. They can be purchased for the show at the GetOffTheBusConcert.com or thesharon.com or 352-753-3229. You can kind of see a little bit of a transition going on. A mold-covered driveway could prompt fines at a home in the village of Duval. The home at 2501 English Ivy Circle was the subject of a public hearing Thursday morning in front of the Community Development District 7 Board of Supervisors at Seabreeze Recreation Center. A complaint was received July 25 about overgrown grass, dead bushes, and mold on the driveway. Matt Armstrong of Resident Services testified at the public hearing that the grass was cut 2 days ago. However, the mold on the driveway remains. The property is owned by Edward and Mary Sylvia. She is dead, and his status is not known according to community standards. These are typical problems. I know you hear them over and over, and I know you get tired of it. In your mind, you're thinking, this is just the same old news, same old, same old. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of listening to it. These are all different homes. This is a daily issue here. I'm just trying to show you what some of the problems are here so that maybe you could not be like this, not fall into this. Here's an update on the lady that was ordered to trim her bushes after 20 years. And boy, has this caused a debate. And I understand both sides of the coin. I get accused of picking one side or the other. In some cases, I probably do that, but in a lot of cases, I don't. I see both sides of the coin. I, for one, think that Mrs. Santos should have been able to keep the shrubs untrimmed, as the shrubs were causing no damage to any other homeowner's property. She had a legitimate reason for letting them grow, said Donnie Hanbury of the village of Finney. Hey, Donnie, he used to be my neighbor over here. I'm reading his thing. Oh my. This would be just another reason to do away with anonymous drive-by tip reporting. In America, even convicted criminals are allowed to face their accusers. Well, that's true and not true. That's in a court of law. We don't have that here. Villager Hillary Wheeler agreed that anonymous complaints have become a problem. They really haven't. They like to say they are, but I don't see where anonymous complaints is a problem at all. The problem is people just not following their district rules. Some mean-spirited person was jealous. See, that makes no sense to me in my mind. How do you know they're mean-spirited? And how do you know they were jealous? And they did this undercover, like an agent, like a secret agent. All those years and no one complained. Need to stop these sneaky complainers. Isn't that sneaky? Here's the reason why I kind of like the anonymous complaint, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I don't like anonymous complaint. Like I said, I see both sides of a coin here. I like it because if there's somebody doing something that is really striking my nerve, there are certain things of me, the reason why I moved here is because there are certain things that maybe I had to deal with in my past living where I lived that I just couldn't stand. It just really got on my nerves for whatever reason. The rules in that district, in my district, that hedges can only be 4 feet tall. My hedge in my back, or will they trim it? It's 4 feet, almost exactly 4 feet. I don't let it get no higher than that. Now, does that mean everybody does that? No. I can go around my neighborhood right here, and I can point in the backyard of some people and say, look at that. This bushes hasn't been trimmed in 8 years. Look how tall they are. They're totally out of whack. There's just a big growth of crap. I don't care because it doesn't affect me. And most of the neighbors here don't care. Doesn't affect them. Our neighborhood is basically, we don't complain much about anything. As long as you keep it neat and clean, we don't really care. There's no complaining that really goes on here. But let me tell you, probably 60% of my neighborhood has turned over twice, some of them 3 times. People I don't even know anymore. I don't even know who they are. I don't know where they come from. I don't know what their idiosyncrasies are. One of those is going to find one of these bushes is bothering them for whatever reason. When I sit in my lanai, when I look over this direction, I can't see as far as I'd like to see because that guy's got all them bushes down there and I can't see over them or around them. And then somebody says, well, you know, they do have a rule here. They can only be 4 feet tall. You can force him to change them. And he goes, really? How do I do that? And they tell him. And so there the complaint comes. New neighbor, he doesn't know that guy, doesn't really care. Bingo, bango, complaint. I like it that way, and I'll tell you why. Now, this guy doesn't know who did the complaining, anonymous complaint. It's always a troll. They always talk about trolls. There's no such thing as a troll. Your neighbor's is turning you in. He doesn't know who turned him in. So if he goes to a driveway party or he gets invited to go play golf and this guy's there, he doesn't know that guy turned him in. Everything's copacetic and, they get along. There's no arguing. Everybody says, we need to get rid of that. Well, here's what's going to happen. And it's a fact. It's just human nature. You turn me in for whatever reason. I've done something. I don't even know what I've done. I've done something. You turn me in. And I find out Joe Blow done it. Joe Blow's on my shit list from that point on. And that's how it's going to work. That's human nature. That's exactly how it's going to work. The argument's going to start. Well, why didn't you come down and say something to me? Why didn't you come and tell me? You're just going to get into the argument. I come down and say, hey, Joe, your bushes back there, man, them things need to be trimmed up. They're just in my way and I can't see. Well, what are you looking for? Well, I just like to be able to look down there and them bushes are in the way and I can't see. Well, there's nothing down there. Why? Maybe not, but it's just I want to look. That's all. I just don't want to see, and that bush is in my way. Well, that bush has been that way for 20 years now. See, it's just an argument. That's all it is. And this eliminates that whole thing. So that's why I like it. Here's the thing about, or the anonymous complaints that I hate, that I just simply hate. You don't have to live in that neighborhood to make a complaint. That's wrong. I can go down to Finney right now. I guarantee you I can find things down there that's out of whack. And I can make the anonymous complaint on 2 or 3 homes down there. I don't even live there. And then them people's going to have to correct whatever the issue is because I made an anonymous complaint. And and then once they verify that complaint's correct, they're going to have to fix it. And I don't even live there. See, that's the problem. And I think that's not right. I think whoever makes the anonymous complaint should have to verify that they live in that neighborhood. Otherwise, it's none of their damn business. Now you've heard the rest of the story. Don't be bad, Donnie. Everybody's got their right to their opinion. You got yours, I got mine. Okay, I think I'm going to end it right here. I've done enough gabbling. I want to get this thing done and over. I try to keep the news at about a half an hour. If you guys still enjoy the news, the comments are always appreciated. I thought I had at least, let me see here. I thought I had at least one more good report. I get accused all the time doing nothing but reporting bad information, and I'm just reading the news. I do not make this stuff up. Okay, let's end this on a high note. Here's one. This is first. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. Don Canati, who recently moved to the Villages, scored his first ace on Thursday, October 20th at hole number 7 at Chula Vista Executive Golf Course. He hit a 9-iron over the pin and backed it in from about 2 feet. Congratulations, Don, on your first, I guess it's your first hole-in-one. I've never had one. Congratulations, bud. Beer is on Don. At the end of this, I got some pictures of different homes here decorating for Halloween. And with that being said, don't leave your kids in the golf cart.